Hello, yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to make you the host so that you can start presenting your screen.
Okay.
So 1 second. And now you can share your screen if you wish.
Yep. I will start sharing. You can see my screen now.
We can see your screen, and give me 2 seconds just to introduce you while you start presenting.
Okay.
So Ana Maria comes from Romania. She has been testing for the last 7 years. Ana Maria, congratulations. I know that you're currently on maternity leave with twins. Oh God, I have 3 kids. I couldn't imagine how hard it is to have twins or to take care of twins. So my full respect on that.
Thank you.
She's active in the community. She has been trying to create channels as well, and she was or is a volunteer at the Romanian testing conference as well. By the way, it's a great conference. I was part of it this year. I really enjoyed it. And Ana Maria is going to be talking to us about modern testers with a Scrum Master hat. So Ana Maria, the floor is yours. And if there are any questions that require your immediate attention, I'll let you know. If not, we'll have 5 minutes for Q&A towards the end. But go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I think you said everything that I wanted to say about me in the introduction. So I will talk about a modern tester with Scrum Master hat. To be clear from the beginning, the tester is not modern because he's wearing a hat, but because he applies the modern testing principles. So we will talk about modern testing principles and how these correlate with the Scrum Guide. We will see which are the activities that might lead to a quality culture in your team. These activities can be performed by the tester or by the Scrum Master. We will see why the Scrum Master role is a good place for the tester to lead quality and coach the other team members. And we will talk also about the downsides when wearing these 2 hats, the one of the tester and the one of the Scrum Master. Our companion along the way will be Popa, the superhero in Kung Fu Panda. And I chose Popa because I feel a bit like him. It's not that he's chubby and clumsy sometimes and he likes dumplings, but because he's learning and evolving in his journey, and he manages to gain the trust of his team, just like we do as testers during our career. This, and everyone loves pandas, right? So at the beginning of our career in testing, we limit our activities at solving our tasks. Someone is assigning the task, and we are more like some test executors, a bit overwhelmed sometimes by the tasks. We don't have that much influence in the team, and the best that the others can look at us is the guy or the girl that is doing a good job finding the bugs. But as we learn, we gain confidence in ourselves, and the others are trusting us. We prove our value, and we can start moving towards a leading position. We can start advocating the quality culture in our team. So as we expand our core skills as testers, we can start widening our expertise. We can look into other software development specialties, such as requirements analysis or programming or databases. Or we can look into the domain knowledge for our project, if it's in the health or banking or Internet of Things domain. This is called the T-shaped tester concept. And one of the roles that a tester can take over is the one of the Scrum Master. And we will see why this is a good position to coach the team into a quality mindset. So let's learn some Kung Fu moves. Alan Page and Brent Jensen came up with this concept of modern testing principle as one step forward from the agile testing and in opposition with the traditional testing. By traditional, we understand testing in waterfall methodology. I was surprised to find out how many companies are still using waterfall or a hybrid methodology between agile and waterfall. As the authors of the modern testing concept claim, even though there is no such thing as a modern tester, I will refer to the person that is coaching quality within the team as being the modern tester. And in order to be able to do this, you have to be comfortable to be in a leadership position in your team. So let's look into each of the 7 principles. The first one is our priority is improving the business. There's nothing new with this one. It doesn't matter if you are looking from testing perspective or from Scrum perspective. In order to stay on the market, you have to continuously improve your business. And when I say business, I am thinking at the product or the service that I am providing. Where can we find this in Scrum? Where it's right from the definition of Scrum. It's a framework within which people can address complex adaptive problems while productively and creatively delivering products of the highest possible value. Highest possible value means that we are improving all the time. Also, in the Scrum Guide, it's stated that Scrum makes clear the relative efficacy of your product management and work techniques so that you can continuously improve the product. But what can we do to improve the business? This cannot be done overnight. Improving the business takes time. Well, as a tester, I always try to understand the problem that the software is solving. I try to understand the technical and the business context in order to know what testing strategy to apply. And if I want to get out a bit of the it's not my job way of thinking, I can also look at the competitors on the market and see how we can come up with a better product than theirs. As a Scrum Master, my contribution for a better product is in guiding the team towards improving the business. This means that I have to make sure that everyone in the team understands the goals, the scope, and the product domain. One of the tasks that helps the team improve is managing the product backlog together with the product owner and understanding the product planning. So the team will know when we have to release, which are the deadlines, what is an acceptable delay and what it is not. Of course, also a tester must understand the product planning. And also the Scrum Master can and should look at the competition on the market. So there are activities that can be done by both the tester and the Scrum Master. The second principle is we accelerate the team and use models like lean thinking and the theory of constraints to help identify, prioritize, and mitigate bottlenecks from the system. Let's clarify some concepts that might be unknown from this one. Lean thinking is a way of developing software while eliminating waste. It sustains growth by aligning customer satisfaction with employee satisfaction, and this offers innovative products. The theory of constraints says that we have to look at our system as a whole and find the constraints. Identify which is the biggest constraint and try to mitigate that one until it's not the biggest one. Continue with the next biggest one and so on until they are at least mitigated, not entirely eliminated. We might consider 4 constraints that we can control in a system. It's the speed or the time on the market, the quality, the scope or how much functionality we are delivering, and cost savings or how much to spend on the work. Usually, testing is considered to increase the costs. Scrum, like lean thinking and the theory of constraints, requires empirical process control. This means that we are inspecting the process continuously and we are adapting it as needed. We have each sprint and each Scrum event to inspect and adapt. So what can we do to remove this bottleneck, which is considered to be testing? Well, as a tester, I always try to use every refinement session to ask the questions that came in my mind. Even though they are stupid questions, or even though it sounds already like a cliche, we really have to clarify all the uncertainty that came in our minds. In order to remove bottlenecks, the tester have to have the big picture over the system, to know on which server the code is deployed, where the regressions are running. So starting from defining a user story in Jira to delivering the release to our customers, we have to know each step so we can prevent bottlenecks. Also, we have to advocate for testability and development tests and align testing with development process. As a Scrum Master, my mission is to lead the team into asking the right questions. And the challenge for me was to always ask for open questions and never suggest the answer in the questions, even if I knew it before. It happened sometimes that the work that our team had to do was depending on the work of other teams. So I had to identify and manage these external dependencies and remove also other impediments. Again, also the Scrum Master should have the big picture over the system. And also the tester can think about external dependencies that might affect his work. So in the end, it's all about communicating in the team and outside the team in the organization. We are a force for continuous improvement, helping the team adapt and optimize in order to succeed, rather than providing a safety net to catch failures. It's the third principle. If the first principle is about improving the business, this one talks about improving ourselves and improving the team. You will see that all the principles are correlated and work together as a system. While the first one refers strictly to the business, this one refers to the team and implies adaptation. For sure, having an adapted team, it will improve the business. In Scrum, adaptation is one of the 3 pillars that uphold every implementation of empirical process. The other 2 are transparency and inspection. Another strong asset of Scrum are the values of commitment, courage, focus, openness, and respect. The Scrum pillars, together with the values, are building trust for everyone in the team. The team members learn and explore those values as they work with the Scrum roles, events, and artifacts. So the Scrum team members have courage to do the right thing and work on tough problem. Everyone should focus on the work of the sprint and the goals of the Scrum team. So the power is in the team's hand. What to do in order to avoid being a safety net is the second part of the principle. Well, first of all, I have to make sure that everyone understands that quality is the responsibility of the entire team. I try to explain to the team what scenarios I will test so everyone has the expectations aligned. Before starting to test, I make sure that at least the happy flow was tested by the developer. It's the minimum common sense that we can start with. For the first part in the principle, the one with continuous improvement, we also have to do our part and search for ways to improve. Maybe look for new tools that will simplify the work for our team. Do a proof of concept for adopting new tools. But the most important for continuous improvement, in my opinion, is to give and receive feedback. And I mean honest and constructive feedback. Not everyone knows how to receive feedback, and that's why we have to build a feedback culture. The Scrum Master is a change agent. He or she can cause changes that will increase the productivity of the team. Retrospective is an important moment for identifying improvement points together with the team. During these meetings, as a Scrum Master, I try to challenge the team to discuss open. But every Scrum event has to be used for adaptation. For example, daily meeting is another good example to adapt, another good occasion to adapt. But feedback can come and should come also from the Scrum Master, not only for the tester. And also the tester can challenge the team to discuss in the retrospective. We care deeply about the quality culture of our team, and we coach, lead, and nurture the team towards a more mature quality culture. This is also called the community principle. The Scrum artifact that enables the quality is the definition of done, which is expected to include more stringent criteria for higher quality as the team matures. This, and also during the sprint, in the Scrum Guide, it is mentioned that quality goals do not decrease. So it's all about the quality. As testers, we can create a community that shares the same idea about the quality. That's what we try to do at Yonder, actually. Even if we are not that many testers, in each Scrum team there's usually one or maximum two testers. We share the same ideas about quality, the same mindset, practices, visions, or goals. I had the chance to take part in technical interviews. So together with the recruiting team, we accepted people that we consider that fits the best with our culture. It's another example of activity that we can do to enable this principle. What we can also do for creating a quality culture is developing best practices in our team. For example, in my team, we have to have unit tests for each functionality, or code review has to be done before starting to test. Are some examples of best practices. Maybe you have others. As a Scrum Master, you can create a set of values together with the team and make sure that the vision of the team and product is shared within the team. You have to make sure that the vision of the team and product is shared, and to make your achievements known in the entire company. For example, we were sending a newsletter once every quarter to the entire company and the stakeholders to brag about what we did lately and how awesome our team is. Also, we have to remember to celebrate success. This is often forgotten. And even if it's a small achievement or a bigger one, we have to never miss an opportunity. We celebrate Sprint 100 or Sprint 200, the achievement of an important milestone, or if a team member obtains a certification. But also the Scrum Master can create a community for quality, or also the tester can make the achievements known in the entire company. Again, activities that can be done by both. The next principle, we believe that the customer is the only one capable to judge and evaluate the quality of our product. This one is one of the controversial principles because some might say that the customer doesn't even know what he wants sometimes, how he could possibly evaluate the quality of the product. The truth is that no matter how high our quality standards are and what we want from the product, the opinion that matters in the end is the one of the customer. The Scrum Guide refers to the product owner as being the customer. His responsibilities are related to the product backlog, to clearly express the product backlog items, to ensure that the product backlog is visible, transparent, and clear to all, to order the items in the product backlog so that to achieve the goals and the mission, to optimize the value of the development of the work the development team performs. But for the product owner to succeed, the entire organization must respect his or her decision. So we must fear the customer. This doesn't mean that we cannot be our customers' partners. We can challenge them from time to time, but we have to present all the information to our customers so they can take informed decision. And the most important thing is to know who is our end customer and ask for feedback. The Scrum Master is there to make sure that the team can reach the end customer directly or in the review meeting. So the Scrum Master has to create a communication channel between the end customer and the team and make sure that everything is in place at the review meeting, that all the stakeholders are invited, and that the demo in the review meeting is not too technical, or someone will show some code in the demo. So the focus for both the tester and the Scrum Master should be on the end customer, receiving feedback from them, and keeping the communication channels open. We use data extensively to deeply understand customer usage and then close the gaps between product hypothesis and business impact. Is the next principle, and this is what makes the difference between the agile principles and modern testing principles: the extensive usage of data. In Scrum, this is not specifically mentioned, but there are all kinds of data that we are measuring. For example, we are measuring the velocity, number of story points, a team grade, or a grade from the product owner. Because what we don't measure, we cannot improve. As tester, we have to find out what kind of data we have to gather. We capture and interpret the data. Also, we have to do exploratory data analysis, investigate relevant information from multiple perspectives. But we have to make sure that we put the data into the right context. When saying that we have 1 million customers doesn't say too much. We have to know if these are using our application actively or they just downloaded the application. Or if we say that we have 2 bugs in the backlog, again, doesn't say too much. This might be critical. So without the context, the data doesn't give a clear view. I was also in the situation of inventing some quality indicators, evaluating them and reporting to the management. It's a dirty job, but we have to do this also. And the Scrum Master is gathering data about the team, mostly. But he also has to offer technical support for data management or to create documentation or to manage records. But he also has to put the data he gathers in a context or a story. Also, the tester has to create documentation sometimes and to manage records. Next principle, we expand testing abilities and know-how across the team, understanding that this may reduce or eliminate the need for a dedicated testing specialist. This one is the most controversial principle. It's a warning sign for those who think that we'll write test cases and execute them for the entire career. I think we have to be prepared to evolve to a coaching role or be ready to switch places to DevOps or even programming. Scrum Guide supports this principle by saying that development teams are cross-functional with all the skills necessary as a team to create a product increment. So the teams are cross-functional and self-organizing. Also, Scrum recognizes no titles for development team members, regardless of the work being performed by the person. Everyone in the team is a developer. And how we can make sure that everyone has the right knowledge, we have to do knowledge sharing. But first, we have to find out what should be learned. Maybe create a knowledge transfer plan. Start a study group on a topic that everyone is interested in. And the most important is doing pair testing with a dev. Or we can give some tips on how to design the automated tests. So we will share our mindset. As a Scrum Master, it is important to create a learning culture in our team. Maybe negotiate with the product owner or management for availability for learning. For example, to have 1 day each month when everybody in the team can learn something that will apply in the project. Also, the Scrum Master has to grant access to the needed resources for learning or create a skills matrix. These are a few of the activities that I had in mind for a tester or a Scrum Master. And now we should talk also about the downsides, or at least the challenges that I encountered when I had to deal with both roles, the tester and the Scrum Master in the same team. It was difficult for me to keep remind the others and remind myself which point of view I am supporting at a certain moment in time. So, for example, now I'm speaking as a tester, or now I'm speaking as a Scrum Master. I once received the advice to actually wear a hat so the others will know, but I didn't put that in practice yet. It was also difficult for me to be objective. As a Scrum Master, I shouldn't take anyone's side, but the tester in me was never asleep. Also, with all the tasks that I have to do, it is difficult to keep focus when switching between the tasks for the tester and the task for Scrum Master. One of the most challenges activities was estimating the user stories. I was always in doubt if I should estimate or I shouldn't, and how I can moderate the estimating process for the team as a Scrum Master if I was also allocating story points. So I always felt that I was pushing the team too much towards quality. I know there is no such thing as too much quality, but as a Scrum Master, my job was to determine the team to ask themselves the right questions and find the answers themselves. But for me, the right answer was always quality comes first. So I was a part of teams that applied modern testing principles without even knowing that this concept exists. But I was also part of teams where modern testing is miles away and many mentalities to change. Uh, as I said, I mentioned a few of the activities that I had to deal with. Maybe you do something else that helps build the quality in the team. But the point is to don't be afraid to take over some new roles in your team or organization. You can be the requirements analyst or the Scrum Master or the product owner for your project. As long as you keep these principles in mind and you have an impact and contribution to the quality of your project, then you achieved your goal and you can call yourself a modern tester. You can find the principles at angrywhistle.com, and you can also listen to the podcast A/B testing. There are some nice ideas in there. If there are any questions.
First of all, I wanted to thank you for the great presentation, Anna, and there are already questions and there's even some comments on the Slack channel, and I just want to echo one of them by Michal, oh God, Sroczynski. I'm sure that I killed his or her last name, saying that they loved your practical inputs, and I think that they were great. And I also think that you did a pretty cool job of presenting maybe the modern testing principle for people who are not aware of them. Let's go over a couple of questions that people are asking here, and I also have one of my own. And if you have additional questions, go ahead and use the Q&A session in here. So one of them is about if you have an opinion about the ISQI Scrum Master Pro certification. Do you know about it? Can you recommend it? What do you think about it?
I know about the certification from the Scrum official, but not the one that you mentioned.
Do you think the certifications in general are a good way to learn, or do you think that there are better channels for that regarding Scrum Masters?
Well, the best way to learn is when you put in practice. There's nothing better than can teach you. But if you want to make sure that you have some ideas that what you are doing is close to what the official channels are saying, then you can inform yourself from there, but not necessary to get the certification, only to have an idea and to know that what you are doing is the good way.
Okay, cool. There's a question here that I like because I think that it's a teasing question, and as you mentioned, principle number 7, it's a problematic one, and a lot of people are maybe even afraid of it. And Louis Gibbs actually is asking if you think that the role of the tester will become obsolete, and if yes, what recommendation do you have for encouraging a complete testing team?
Well, I don't think that it will be completely obsolete and will disappear, but I think that it will transform, as I said also in the presentation, more to a coaching role. We will still have to be there to teach the team which is the right things to do when talking about quality, because not everyone has the responsibility to do the right things. And I think there will still need someone to be in the team and remind everyone how important the quality is, and that the focus of the entire team should be on the end customer and the quality.
And I actually like that answer. And again, not to self-brag, but that is more or less what I'm going to be talking about in a couple hours. So that's a cool one. There's a question here on the Q&A. There are a number of them, so I hope that we will be able to answer at least many of them. A question here by Zach Jarrett. How do you promote your team's accomplishment without sounding like you're bragging?
But it's okay to brag if it's a good job that we are doing. There's nothing wrong with this. If there are achievements that are worth bragging, why not? Let's not be modest when it's not the case.
Okay. There was another question here that I liked. Wait, there were some, again, pretty good principles here. Wait. I'm looking for, oh yeah. There's one here that I liked, and maybe you can shed some light on that. You didn't talk about that directly. You mentioned that a little bit by Clyde Vassallo. What quality indicators did you find particularly useful in order to measure quality in your team? If you have any answers for that.
Well, yeah, that was a difficult task for me, and it took some while to think and some brainstorming, because what can you measure? For sure, you cannot look at bugs as being a quality indicator. That's a wrong thing to do, in my opinion. So I was looking more at if the regression tests are run before integrating in the CI, if there are many incidents that come from the production, and how the end customer receives our product, things like this.
Okay, sounds good. It's basically going a little bit around the edges and try to measure the indirect.
Yeah, if there are any patches that we do in production because of some bad things that ended up in there.
Okay. Now, another question that I'm looking forward to hearing your answer. I know I have my opinion on that. How do you approach the people, especially developers, who do not want to do testing and they only want to do code? Do you have any formula for that?
There is no magic formula. Depending on each person and how you can um, get them to listen to you, find the smooth spots, let's say. Um, I don't know, maybe someone looks for you to recognize their work, and then I say, I know you did a good job, but at least as I said, the if they run the happy flow, it's a starting point, and we can go from there and do this like a discussion. Did you think about this scenario to test, or did you think about that?
Sounds like using a lot of I would call them coaching approaches. And here's a question by Trisha, also on the Slack channel. How do you become a good coach? Do you have any resources that you can share in order to become a better coach?
Well, not something that comes in my mind right away, but I will think about this and put some resources in the Slack channel.
Okay. And again, we do have some more time, so if you're comfortable, I can ask a little bit more questions.
Okay.
There's a question here from Cynthia Bell. She said that if your main role has been that of a QA professional for a long time, do you feel that it is an easier transition using those skills to become a Scrum Master more than any additional IT role, maybe a developer, maybe another thing in there?
It depends a lot on the path you want to go on your career. Maybe you don't want to take over this role because it implies a bit of coaching and interacting with people, and it's okay to look at some other direction, more technical, or more to the management side. But in my opinion, these two are working together very good, and you can have a good impact in the team if you are talking from the Scrum Master's perspective. So you're not, let's say, only the tester anymore, but you are also the Scrum Master, and you have a bigger impact.
Okay, and another question here. Sorry, Mike says a follow-up question that if you're a tester and you want to become a Scrum Master, what would be the first thing that you would focus on? How would you recommend someone actually starting that path?
Well, in my case, was more an opportunity that came to me, but it also was also the decision of the team together with me, because if the team sees you as a leader, then it's easy to go to this side and be also the Scrum Master.
Okay. There's another question here. Which role did you like most? Which role was most challenging? If you had to choose only one, which one would it be?
Definitely testing.
Why?
It's more challenging. You have more opportunities to grow in more areas that you can tackle. So, yeah, as I said in the presentation, deep in my soul, I'm always a tester.
Okay, so Anna, I think that we're more or less up on time, and I do apologize for people that we didn't get to their all their Q&A session questions and people who asked on the chat that we didn't even cover. I do recommend everyone to just go over to the Slack channel and continue bombarding Anna with your questions. All good and fine. And what we're going to do right now